Internet! Hello and welcome to Batman Mask of the Phantasm. We're doing a full-on audio commentary of Batman Mask of the Phantasm in honor of great patron Michael McCarstle, patron saint of Watchalongs. I am so excited to get into this movie for a myriad of reasons. One, I have not seen it in actual years. Two, if memory serves, it is amongst the best comic book movies of all time and amongst the best Batman movies of all time, and those two things do correlate beautifully. Three, if you're reading Batman Catwoman from Tom King and Clay Mann, you know how glorious the Phantasm reintroduction slash modernization is going. We are very, very early into it, but it is very exciting. And four, I'm really excited to watch it with folks. So I'm gonna rant a couple more minutes while we wait for people to get into the chat, and then I'll leave in the comment below what time we actually pressed play. So if you're discovering this later in the future, you can just click the time code and then dive in with the play button. This is available on HBO Max. If you do not have HBO Max, I hope you have it on Blu-ray. I have HBO Max, but I also have this incredible set, which is one of my pride and joys. My girlfriend at the time got me this for Christmas 2 years ago, and it is my baby. It is a limited edition, deluxe edition of Blu-ray and digital copies of every single episode of Batman the Animated Series, plus little Funkos, and it comes with both movies, Batman Mask of the Phantasm and the Mr. Freeze movie. This thing is glorious. It's got original art, it's got audio commentaries, it's got deleted scenes, it is 12 discs of glory. It's got brand new in-depth featurette with the legendary storytellers behind the series, 2 bonus discs of animated films, which is one of these is Mask of the Phantasm, the other Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. It's got all 109 action-packed episodes with over 35 hours of extra features. This thing is dope, and it has, how many? 12? 12 episodes of commentaries with the animated creators. So this thing is my pride and joy. I love it very, very dearly. So, and me and the X are still cool, so I can thank her constantly, and I'll tell her she did this for us today, because this is how you watch it. Now, this is a show that was drawn on black paper. This is a show that should be seen in high definition. This is beautifully updated and modernized to the Blu-ray format, so this is the way to watch it. So if you can get your hands on this collection, you should, because I cannot sing its praises higher. This was a gift, so it's not like there's any sort of, there's no kickback. Warner Brothers nor DC is telling me to pimp this. I'm pimping it because I'm really happy with it. I received it as a gift. I get nothing out of this. And I mentioned the great Michael McCarstle at the top of the show. This is in honor of Michael McCarstle, and he has this to say: "This movie remains my favorite Batman film of all time. I've watched it for literally my entire life. It was released the year I was born. Despite the brilliance of The Dark Knight, this movie still takes the crown." High praise from Mr. Michael McCarstle. I think I may have vamped enough. We're going to give it another 30 seconds, and I'm going to dive in. I have not seen this movie in, I would venture, a decade, so this movie will be one of those where I might get awestruck in the zone of it, but I'm going to be watching it with you guys. We're going to be doing some conversations. I'm going to be reading the chat. I'm going to be checking the Streamlabs, but this is going to be a group journey into, I would say, one of the best Batmans, and Michael would say, the best Batman. And I'm really excited. So let's kick it off. I'm going to get into the section of the, I've got 2 different versions, theatrical presentation and television presentation. I'm going to go theatrical and hope it's not a different runtime. Let's see what that means. Actually, I'll click and I'll tell you guys how long my 2 different versions are, so make sure we don't get into any shenanigans with the HBO Max. I did not expect there to be 2 cuts of this movie. So while this is loading, please bear with me to see how long this is. We'll make sure we got the right version for the watch-along. All right, this movie is, does not say runtime. I'm going to quickly see difference between theatrical and TV version. All apologies. Difference between theatrical and TV Mask of the Phantasm. And just want to make sure that you guys aren't watching a different cut. So that would be, it's the aspect ratio. Okay, beautiful. I'm watching theatrical, widescreen TV. That is the way I want to watch it. I assumed it was going to be a frame, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't a runtime as well as a frame. So that's about as much vamping as I think anyone needs. Let's kick it over to 0-0, and then let's press play in 3, 2, 1. Mask of the Phantasm. All right, we got the Warner Brothers logo. We got some sweet, sweet Bugs Bunny action. Oh, I'm excited, Michael McCarstle and everyone watching. I'm excited. All right, Mask of the Phantasm, first time in years. Spidey Cat is also thrilled. So this animated sequence of Gotham was originally what they wanted to do for, oh, I love that font, for the animated series. And it was going to be in every episode, and it was going to speed up the animation process as sort of a living set, a framework they could do for Batman the Animated Series. They ended up not using it, so it's perfect to use for the first incredible theatrical experience of Batman the Animated Series via Mask of the Phantasm, which is pretty cool. Michael, I do not... 77 minutes. That's what I got. I think it was 76 and change, so I think we're good. You scared me. I saw 87, and I was like, do you have 10 more minutes that I've never seen? That happened with A Knight's Tale. I could not believe it. There's more cuts of movies than I ever knew. But yeah, 77 minutes I got. The gothic flavor of Batman the Animated Series, I still think is what the movie should strive for. I really hope that's what Matt Reeves is designing. I think Gotham is as important a character as anything else. And we've had some really cool realistic Gothams. I think one of the rare defendable things in the Joel Schumacher Gothams is Joel Schumacher Batman's is how distinct the Gotham was. And if they go this way with the Matt Reeves Batman, I think we'll be in great hands. And I think they are. Yeah, the Gothic / Art Deco style is stunning. Also, the voice acting in the show was so adult. It never felt extreme. It never felt like voice acting. I never had that vibe. With some cartoons, I really struggle with the realism in the acting. I love that this show is for kids and adults, but it doesn't pander to either. It never tries to be edgy, and it also never tries to be like, shucks, or for kids. Also, still one of the best Batsuits. It's really hard to top this movie experience. Michael McCarstle says, and the score is unreasonably good. It is, to this day, I believe, the composer's favorite, I read. I'm going to pull all of those notes up. See, Batman doesn't need to kill if he's a boss. Also, fun fact, we talk about Batman Returns being a Christmas movie all the time. This actually came out Christmas Day, 1993. So this, too, is a Christmas movie. If you're not reading Batman and Catwoman, please do. Phantasm's back. So Phantasm, loosely based off of a Year 2 character from Batman Year 1, Batman Year 2. Year 2 character Reaper influences this, but I got a lot more out of the Phantasm character personally. So from start to finish, this movie only took 8 months to make, which still blows my mind. Composer Shirley Walker cited the film score as the favorite of her own compositions. So this is the composer Shirley Walker's favorite. Also, I'm listening to it in headphones, but it has a very theatrical mix. Like the surround sound element is way more enhanced than a lot of cartoons. It really is an atmospheric journey from visual to sound. I've really started listening to a lot more movies with headphones on, and it changes the experience a lot of times. I highly recommend The Sound of Metal with headphones. Michael McCarstle with 2 notes. Yeah, they didn't want to make the acting seem like it was overacting to pander to kids, which I appreciate. And Phantasm absolutely terrified me as a child. I get it. It's a loose cannon. Michael notes that considering the fact that it's roughly the length of 3 episodes of the show, that's not surprising for production schedule. That's fair. I just my brain with animation, it's just such an impressive feat. I understand the storyboarding's like not the storyboarding, the animation framework is done and everything else. It's just so impressive to me that any animation gets done, much less out of schedule. Forever the voice of Batman. And it was so nice to see him in the CW crossover, but hearing that voice is just correct. Sal axes, hey, any new comic book shopping coming out? That is up to Collider. It's a new year. I hope so, but tweet them. Ask them. I have no power. I've got a guest and a list and questions in mind, but we'll see. Yeah, and he also says, and they had so many character models and whatnot from the show, they probably saved them from the design stage. Exactly, and that's like the opening, where that opening was going to be used in the show, and they used it here. And you can do a lot with the framework already made, but it's just so impressive from a technical level. And playing up the Playboy angle has always been really important to the Batman mythos, but I like that the animated show didn't shy away from it because the lovers of Batman, obviously in this movie especially, are so essential. But it's not just Vicky Vale, it's not just Talia, there's a myriad of women that are important to the character. For any playing along at home, the Blu-ray transfer is stunning. And I'm sure the HBO Max is off the Blu-ray transfer, so I'm sure it's pretty as well. Oh, it's almost as if... Again, clever writing for kids and adults. That is the adults hearing it, the kids. Like, it's beautiful. Now, obviously, if you're watching a commentary in this film, you probably know the twist ending. So I'm gonna go with spoilers being assumed. I really also like that they introduced the character as a legacy character, as someone we already feel something for. We get through Bruce's experience how much Andrea matters. I also miss this style of animation quite a bit, where they do use CGI for, framing and backdrops and stuff, but there's the quality of the hand drawn is, I miss it. Paul Dini, one of the creators of this incredible show, intended each of the flashbacks into Batman's love life to have the tendency to get worse when you hope things will get better. Love that chronology, and I love that concept going in that direction to build the love of this character. Like, it's details. It's the details. Michael says, for real, if the rumored sequel series isn't 2D hand-drawn animation, I don't know how I'll feel. It needs to be these character designs, it needs to be this style of animation, it needs to be this pacing, and it needs to trust the audience as much as this did for it to be a true sequel, and I really, really hope. Andrea Beaumont is based loosely on a combination of Judson Caspian the Reaper. Judson was the first name of the Reaper? Anyway, and his daughter Rachel Caspian. That's what's throwing me. Characters from the Batman Year 2 comic book storyline. Andrea was allegedly named after casting and vocal supervisor Andrea Romano, whom star Kevin Conroy occasionally teased. I like that there's a real-life basis and the comic influence for Andrea Beaumont. This is the very first film in the DC animated universe, and it is quite expanded. Someone asked me at the beginning of this, or in my show, Koi Cubed, a couple hours ago, if I had seen a number of the animated films, and I can't keep up because there's so much, but I know how good quality they are. This, to me, is still my favorite. Ninja Stars pre-Batarang. This obviously reflecting the year 2 stuff, the year 1 stuff, which we then got adapted into Batman Begins. I love that even with flashbacks, the characterizations remain the same, and you can kind of anticipate. So it like endears you to the characters you watch on the weekly show even more. They said they based the flashbacks loosely on Citizen Kane about love and the passage of time. Not a bad source material. Michael updated me on something I didn't know. He said, sort of, over the last 10 years or so, DC has also adapted big parts of the New 52. That's what that other mentioned movie is a part of. So there's 2 cinematic universes, I guess, going simultaneously. I'm very out of the animated film loop because this is the era that I was in the know of it. So for what it's worth, this is the bar. The actress who plays Andrea Beaumont, her name is right in front of me. I love this. She ended up being the voice of Lois Lane on Superman the Animated Series after impressing this Donna Delaney. Donna Delaney impressed them so much with this, she ended up getting the voice of Lois in Superman. Crazy true story. Paul Dini, while the film was being written, Paul Dini, who was handling many of the Joker scenes, was attacked and beaten by two muggers on Lapeer Drive and had to undergo reconstructive surgery on his skull. He spent several months recouping from the attack physically and emotionally. As a result, he almost backed out of this film and even considered giving up working on Batman altogether before he returned to work on the script. He later wrote a graphic novel on his experience recovering called Dark Knight, a true Batman story. Holy shit, Paul Dini. Bruce Timm, I always wondered this. Bruce Timm apparently went through 20 different character designs for the Phantasm before creating a version that resembled the Grim Reaper with Azrael's mask. I've always wondered if Azrael was that clear of influence. The large blade on the right hand was not part of Timm's original design, though. It was added by Alan Burnett's insistence. Collab. Yeah, I definitely remember this character scaring the crap out of me when I was young. This came out when I was 5. I think I saw it in theaters at 5. It was the first PG Warner Brothers animated film, and it was... We needed parental guidance. I was scared. Such a great character design. While you're watching, notice how dark the darks are, and you can see the influence of like drawing on black paper and the style of animation and everything else. Like we were saying Art Deco and Gothic before, but just the... I personally can't think of another cartoon that captures Batman's darkness, the comic book darkness, this well. Whatever this font is, I need on all social media. I want to type only in Bat font. Yeah, that was a pretty dark murder for a PG film. This movie goes there. This is the second and out of only 2 appearances of Commissioner Gordon in this film. He's in the show a lot, but he's not in the movie quite a bit. In the chat, what's up, that one guy? Of course, Michael McCarstle, Travis Earl, Sal the 18. That score. Oh, and this Batmobile. I mean, it's really it's this and Burton for me. Those Batmobiles, they're similar to each other on purpose, but those are the two. And also, he's more of a detective in this than any of the live action films, walking around, recording, thinking out loud. He's detective. He's the world's greatest. Let him be a detective. Thank you, animated film. Also, the atmosphere captured here is arguably more Batman than any of the live action either. Michael, I'm seeing it, man. Oh, shit. Again, even greater for once you know the ending. I love the setup. I love the. I mean, every comic movie needs that moment, but I really like how they use the cemetery for that. Chris Morano says 10 episodes into the animated series on HBO Max, and it's better than I remembered. It is exquisite, right? I have the whole series on Blu-ray, and I love it dearly. My thing just paused slightly, so I apologize if I'm slightly off. I immediately came back. Let's hope it doesn't mess us up. I'm now looking at them having dinner. All apologies. Skis ball, and then Batman as a peeping Tom. Look at that shot. Oh, that's awesome. The rain, the difference in coloring, the overlap fade, so cinematic. The Gotham World's Fair was modeled very specifically after the iconic 1939 World Fair, with many of these like institutions. On the Blu-ray, you can actually see where they zoom in on the paper. You can actually see the grain of the paper on the edges of this, and it's beautiful. Stunning transfer, Warner Brothers. Thank you. I remember this scene also really creeped me out as a kid. This whole sequence of terrifying near future. Batspiration! I love that the Batmobile gets an origin story in this. The same holiday season as this, which came out in Christmas in 1993, Dom Delaney appeared in Tombstone that very same year, opposite future Batman Val Kilmer, which is very cool. And previously, Adam West and Cesar Romero also appeared, so previous Batmans. This will not stay on. Good point, Michael McCarstle, and it's bright red like one of the original Batmobiles. Good note. Meeting the skis ball. The closest we get to like an origin story, I like. Like this to me is enough. It's one of the reasons I'm cool with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker being a concept of one of the origins. Like this is as close as I want to see. The cinematography is actually really cool too. I like that they use very different styles of shots. It's animated, you can do what you want, but like the style and the angles that they use are really creative. There's so much more foreground in this show. He's clearly Batman. Now he's not Batman. As I said earlier, the writers talked about things falling apart throughout. So, the year one, year two thing is he's becoming more obsessed. I had admittedly in the 10 years since I've seen it forgot that this is 80% flashback. It's a really cool way to tell a story, especially for an animated movie in the 90s before superheroes were popular. One of my favorite fun facts about this whole movie is that both Siskel and Ebert said they wish they'd seen it in theaters, and that they compared it to Batman Returns and Batman Forever, like this was of the theatrical caliber, and they're totally right. So I love that they judged it and then were like, ooh, I was wrong. Love that. Also, the animated series got him pleading with his parents, I think, better than a lot of the movies. Like, we've had so many versions of Batman saying, like, I could just pay for it, blah, blah, blah. This just captures the ethos, the pathos of it. That line, didn't count on being happy. Oof. I think this is still to this date the only one, but as of I think 2000, this is the only comic book film nominated for an Annie Award for Best Animated Feature, but it lost to The Lion King. I personally struggle to keep up with all the animated features, but comments, chat, etc. Let me know if there's anything close to Mask of the Phantasm level. if you notice, even like some of the frames, they use old film techniques to like wash the edges darker so it feels more like a movie. I'm sure there's a word for that technique, I just don't know it. ONeil is a nod to the comic books that started taking this away from the cheesy Adam West era of Batman, because there was a quite the time that Adam West, in my opinion, I'm not the cheesy Batman fan, I prefer him serious, but that era of comic books steered it the right way, so they wanted to give Danny O'Neill the credit, and obviously Neil Adams, who really, I think Neil Adams is going to be the biggest influence on the Battinson Batman, but the O'Neills in specific reference to the Demi Corporation's O'Neill funding and Adam, Tool, and Die, shown in Batman's computer screen references to Danny O'Neill and Neil Adams, respective writer and artist for the comics in 1969. Their somber, camp-free stories have been called groundbreaking and are considered a major turning point for DC Comics Batman titles. So Neil Adams gets tons of credit, as he should, but I love that Danny O'Neill, who I think we lost recently in the last like 2 years, got some love here as well. How you doing, Spidey? Hanging out? I love the planting of the seeds that it's her dad as well. Oh. '93 was 27 years ago. It took 24 years to come out on Blu-ray. 27 years, and they still have the agonizing Batman has to choose between his love and his bat, and it still works. It's a great archetype. And this hurts just as much as it did in '93. Apparently, they were also originally reluctant to feature the Joker at all because this was '93. Batman '89 had just come out. Back then, we didn't have 5 comic movies a year. They were much more rare, so they were worried about using the Joker in a theatrical film. Obviously, it was necessary. It worked out. Man, every frame, there's so much patience in this. It lets the atmosphere build instead of rushing anything, and I love it for that. Originally, this was going to end the animated series. That this was going to be the conclusion, which is why the Joker ending we have. But I love the idea of ending the animated series with the beginning of Batman. I think there's beautiful symmetry in the year one story concluding. Obviously, I'm glad we got more Batman in the animated series, but that's such a cool concept. And especially a movie about time, especially a movie about beginnings and endings. It's just, there's so much poetry in that. Listen closely. Apparently the sound of the robots winding down is the sound of the Millennium Falcon winding down, which is just insane. Obviously Luke, but Millennium Falcon tying in. I'm so excited we're getting Sal Maroni in the Matt Reeves Batman movie. Mark Hamill's perfect. One of the reasons Mark Hamill said he wanted to come back to play the Joker is he wanted to work on his laughter vocabulary, expanding his repertoire of crazy laughs. There's also a story of Mark Hamill going to watch this in theaters, and it was a fairly empty house, so he asked the people that were seeing it to sit with him. So some lucky crowd of Batman fans got to watch this with the Joker, unexpectedly. Would 5 million fit in that size suitcase? Actually, you know what? It might. Michael's saying some of his best Joker work was in this movie. I totally agree. Even the Mikasa, Nostrama, Sukasa, every line of his is masterfully delivered here. They set up the father being Phantasm really well. But also her clearly being a boss, not flinching, not there's both options. Also, I really like that anyone that gets too close to Batman is a certain type. Like Bruce clearly likes strong, like intelligent, capable women. Andrea, Talia, Selena. There's an interesting pattern that it works for the storytelling, but also human psychology. Those things do replicate in patterns, so it builds the story and the character simultaneously. There's also a ton of like Bat villains here. Like they balance a lot of characters well. Man, the score is good. What a score, man. Mike also pointed out, like, such a morbid joke, the one that the Phantasm got in Time to Escape. I also think the animated series was able to be more consistent with the darkness of Joker's humor. Like, I feel like the writers understood the mentality of the Joker a lot more than most. I consider, Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill's Joker as the two that capture the character from the comics to me. Even I even prefer Hamill's over Nicholson's. I feel like it gets the depravity of the humor in a very specific way, even though it's an all ages adjacent version of the character. Again, brilliant use of foreground. I love the barrels over the camera. It's just not a lot of shows, especially animated shows, went this way. And you remember Spider-Man, the animated series, they couldn't even have guns. Everyone always had lasers and stuff, and this was on at the same time. I hope Matt Reeves watched this while they were filming. I hope Matt Reeves is like, this is what I want my Batman to be. You never have the Batman. Batman. So good. I had genuinely forgotten the use of the horse and saving Batman. What could have been? Alfred's also great. There's a flashback in one of the animated films, like one of them, the Creeper, that flashed back to a similar photo. And I think that was one of the last animated films I saw, but it reminded me of Zack Snyder using the photo for the Wonder Woman flashback. I think it's a smart storytelling device. You really care. Like you're in. I was really, I was young in '93. I was 5, but I'd forgotten how good the love story element of this movie was, which makes all the violence and the twist and everything else so much more impactful. But I'd just forgotten how much I'm invested in this character. I am so excited to see where this character goes in Batcat with Tom King and Clay Mann, because I'd forgotten how much I care about Andrea. Right now, the Andrea stuff's kind of like a B story in Batcat, but it's a 12-issue mini, so I think by issue like 4, it's going to be the A story. I'm just fascinated by what they do with the character. Much like this, it's some of the best animation, in this case, hand-drawn art, I've seen in Batman. I agree. It is easily one of the most impactful comic book romances. Batman's got great rogues, great love romances, like Spider-Man. It's the dichotomy that really works. Spider-Man's love stories are important. His rogues are important. I think there's a reason those two are the staple characters. Because it's not just them, it's their whole world. You want it for him? So good. This, I also don't think of many animated movies or shows in the 90s using rack focuses. They did, like in the Bruce looking up at his parents scene, and they've used it a couple times, but I don't think of that stylistic choice as being very common. It adds to the cinema, but I just... Chat, let me know if there's others. Mark Hamill's incredible. Yeah, Michael, I gotta agree. This is some of Hamill's best. Man. That overlap fade of laughter madness. Not to speak ill of another property, but I never buy like the Jared Leto Joker like being like this. Like I don't buy his empire. Like I want to hear the fear and the chaos in these elements of the character. Like I don't see him going after a councilman or having the forethought to do any of that stuff, and I really want to see more of that element of the Joker. Just as much as I want to see the world's greatest detective, I want to see a Joker that impacts people after the fact, and like the laughing serum and all those things in a Batman story. I remember the sequence and the line "Spawn of his loins, clear as day," even from when I was a kid. That feeling of not being able to catch your breath laughing, they capture so well. Whoever this actor is, incredible. Laughing and having it be believable is so hard, and this. I can't even imagine the inside of Mark Hamill's mind in playing the Joker. There's just so much beautiful chaos. Joshua R. needs more notice for these commentaries. I apologize. It all came together at the last minute with myself and patron saint of Watchalongs, Mr. Michael McCarstle. It is the end of the month, and this was the best day we both had, so I will be better in February. Thank you for the thumbs. I appreciate you. More commentary. Notice next time. And that's how we find out, well, we assume now, but that's how we find out her dad wasn't the Phantasm. Messed me up as a kid, man. The idea that he would rig up one of those dolls to be a murder bot and like the perfect setting for the Joker's lair. This is actually one of the things I really liked about Birds of Prey is I felt like Birds of Prey captured this kind of Gotham. The movie had its faults, sure, but it had so many things it did right, and I think it felt like this Gotham in so many ways, especially in this sequence. In fact, I can almost guarantee this sequence directly inspired Birds of Prey the more I think about it. Sometimes you gotta fight people with baloney. Sometimes it's the move. Bat bike looking like the Batmobile. Love the design of the street racer bat bike. Save for Batman. Again, it's been a long time. I didn't remember how that went. I'm jealous you have that bat cycle. I see why she got Lois. She's so good. What? They released a new one? So they released a new version of that bat bike. Phantasm's getting back to being popular. This makes me very happy. Also, Mr. Marcus McGregory in the chat. Man, I think I'm going to make a YouTube video reacting to this. My first time watching. I love that people are now discovering Phantasm. It makes me so happy that it's a new discovery for someone. I recommend starting it from the jump. This movie is impossibly good. One of, if not the best Batman movies. Right, Spidey? Spidey's even watching it. He's tired, though. The miniature of Warner Brothers in the foreground. So this whole thing is miniatures. They actually did a model of the Warner Brothers with logo and all. I love that so much. As an adult, I love that I've been there. As a kid, I remember seeing this and being like, I'd want to go there. Obviously, Mini Gotham, not Warner Brothers. I didn't know any better, but I love that this also ties into so many comic books with the use of miniatures, Silver Age characters being giant. There's so many great homages to classic storylines in this movie. I would even take an episode of just the Joker retrofitting this place to be deadly. I want to watch the Joker playing around with madness of the future. Kong versus Godzilla. Yeah, use of cowl. Well, cape. Whoever thought of the missing tooth bit, it makes me chuckle every time. And a Joker rocket pack. Genius. Jetpack Joker, miniature Gotham, excellent set piece. And then we still need to mourn Bruce losing Andrea forever because she's a criminal. I wonderfully done, Warner Brothers. So when I mentioned earlier, this was originally the idea for the end of the animated series. This would have been the big conclusion. I read they were thinking about doing it as a 2 or 3 part episode to conclude the series. Obviously, that's not the way it went, thankfully, because more BTAS, the better ever. I want more if they handle it right for a new sequel series. But this is a fairly conclusive ending to the bad guy. And it would have worked too. Like, it would have been a dark, great ending. What Batman could never do. What a haunting ending to a great character, man. It's so good. And since the bat suit is so iconic, every shadow, all the water, the cape, the cowl, Batman is such perfect pop culture that you can recognize it in any way. And then the score is so, like, everything about Batman's so iconic that it makes stuff like this so beautifully unique. Like, we care so much about this character. Oh, what an ending to a series. Perfect Alfred. But that is how you make a Batman movie. Perfect. It is just perfect. What a movie, what an experience, what an atmosphere, what a correct assessment of every character from the comic books, but modernizing it and adjusting it to a different medium. What a beautiful piece of art to trust the audience. God damn, I love Batman. That is so good. Folks, I enjoyed the hell out of that journey with you. I want to thank Michael McCarstle, who is the patron saint of Watchalongs. If you are in the chat right now, thank Mr. Michael McCarstle. He is the reason this can happen. I want to obviously thank everyone involved in this masterpiece. I also want to I'm worked up. I also want to suggest you check out Batcat, Batman Catwoman, which is a comic book sequel, effectively, to this. This song, by the way, is a rare well, I guess she does more singing now, but she didn't at this time. Tia Carrere of Wayne's World and many other things, but mainly, in the pop culture zeitgeist, not a singer. So cool to have her singing here. She actually was with me in New York when we did some Sirius XM stuff. She is lovely. Anyway, irregardless, check out Batman Catwoman. It's a 12-issue miniseries. It's only on issue 2. You're not far behind. It won't cost you a lot to catch up. It is a sequel to this. If you enjoyed this, you will enjoy Batcat. If you enjoyed this, you will enjoy a lot of what the Batman universe is. So check out the comic books, especially Batcat. It's very accessible. Also, highly recommend the Blu-ray set of Batman the Animated Series. It is magnificent. The translation, the what's the word? When they scan it, whatever they did, the formatting is lovely. Thank you again to Michael McCarstle. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you to everyone in the Koi Pond. Thank you, whoever you are, for watching this. You are here right now. I appreciate you. Thank you. Like, comment, all the regular YouTube stuff. I'm going to be dropping a review for The Sound of Metal this week, and I will also be back on Tuesday with more news and stuff. And a brand new Koicast drops tomorrow. So tomorrow, check your podcasts and whatnot for that on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all them places. So thank you again to Michael McCarstle. Thank you to everyone here. That is going to do it for this month's Watch Along. That was awesome. That is such an incredible movie. Spidey is going to go rage. Actually, he's been sleeping all day. I'm not going to get any sleep tonight because Zoe is now. So he's going to be a madman very, very soon. Let's find a way to get the Batman font and just use it all the time. All right. That was awesome. Michael, great call. Great pick. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Much, much appreciated, each and every one of you. We'll see you next time, and we're gonna plan it earlier, so we'll let you know with more advance what the next watch along is gonna be for February. All right, much love, Koi Pond. We will see you soon. Buy Batman comics, read things, enjoy art. It won't let me leave. Yes, it will. Okay, now it will. Bye, guys.